Welcome, everybody, to Survive and Advance on the Gruely Truth Sports Network. Survive and Advance is brought to you by Seat Giant. If you want a discount on any of the tickets for any of the games, especially conference basketball tournaments coming up, make sure you go to Seat Giant, click in the promo code LEGEND. Also, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag, which in the next 24 hours, you will be able to click on our website, click on the banner, it'll take you there and give you a 50% cash bonus. I am your co-host for Survive and Advance, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host, 1981 national champion with the Indiana Hoosiers, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Help me welcome to the show, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Two things. I'm dead tired because I got up at 3:30 this morning and rewatched North Dallas 40, which was fun. I was cracking up. Number two, is the Bobby Sheridan report not sponsoring us anymore? Did he finally leave us?
No, Bobby didn't leave us. He didn't want us to bring it up at the start anymore, remember? We're good because we are going to branch this off into having our own betting show, which Bobby Sheridan will be on and sponsor.
So he's leaving Survive in Advance.
No, he's not leaving Survive in Advance. He's just going to sponsor his own show instead of ours because we got two more sponsors. Quit whining, Steve. All right. If you listen to us daily, and we appreciate the thousands that do every day, Steve is in love with Hollywood. Anything from the Kardashians to, he still watches soap operas. I think he's the only reason they still make The Young and the Restless. And a week or two ago, we started talking about the movie now North Dallas 40, which we both love. And, it just dawned on me, hey, I know somebody that was in that movie that was on our NFL Legends show a few years ago. So we gave him a call. We got him on the air. So without any further ado, let me introduce to you a man who played in the NFL for the Washington Redskins, Houston Oilers, Denver Broncos, St. Louis Cardinals, was a member of the Over the Hill Gang with George Allen, Jeff Severson. How you doing, Jeff?
Well, Mike and Steve, it's great. Congratulations on a good show and bringing back some memories of the NFL and being under Nick Nolte's armpit for 2 hours.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, though, before you go too far and say all these things, just wait till the show's over with and see how you feel about it.
Okay.
You're not going to feel the same way, Jeff, I guarantee you, because you won't like us by the time we're done. We're idiots.
He'll still like me.
I'll speak for myself. I'm an idiot. I'll speak for myself, right?
Yeah. And Steve,
tell the
truth, Jeff.
I don't have thin skin, so fire away.
All right, so let's start off with this. Number one, the Singing Cowboy. When did you start with the music? I assume it's something early on, and I assume we know how you got the nickname.
Yeah, I've always, plucked the guitar and write some music, and I put out some pretty good songs, I think. And when I was in Houston, I was doing some commercials, and they nicknamed me the Singing Safety, or the Singing Cowboy, Singing Safety, Severson the Singing Safety. So that was kind of corny, but it kind of stuck. So my buddies still call me that, as in jest and stuff. But it's a cute thing, and I love country music. I tell people I don't need a shrink. I listen to country music and write it and play it. In fact, we just got back from Nashville, Mike and Steve. I did recorded two of my songs. One was with a young gal named Kristen Harris from McKinney, Texas. It was on American Idol. And the song I wrote was What's a Cowboy Supposed to Do? And we changed it to What's a Cowgirl Supposed to Do? It's kind of a heartbreaking song. And, man, she just killed it down there. And this is with Horsefly Productions. Then I did the one I think you liked it too, Packing Out of Texas. I recorded that, and she recorded. So this summer we should have a release of those two songs on this compilation CD. These people did Michael Martin Murphy's Austinology that's out right now. So and that's doing real well. So I'm really excited. It's kind of a bucket list thing for me. It's been a serious hobby, and to have somebody fly me down there and pay for the recording and everything it's pretty exciting to see where it's going to go. So maybe we'll have to do another show if we get that release so we can play those songs.
Yeah, most definitely. And Steve, wait a second. Now I got to say something
go ahead.
for Steve.
All right.
Steve
go
has
ahead,
sung
go ahead,
a
Mike, I'm
couple
sorry.
times on the show, Jeff. And, I mean, you may want to write a song for Steve to sing. I mean, he could record it and bring out his own single. What do you think, Steve?
Well, Jeff, isn't it true that every country song has to have a dog, a pickup truck, and a shotgun in it? Is that true? Every country song, those are the three components of a country song that you make a great song, and a jilted girlfriend. You know, some girlfriend who's leaving you, like who's the one that left Blake Shelton? I can't think of her name. She just got remarried.
Well, Steve, if you play a country song backward, you get your car back, your truck back, your brother
back, your dog back. Your dog comes back alive. There you go.
Well, you guys know how many cowboys it takes to, how many country singers it takes to change a light bulb, don't you?
No, how many?
It takes one. It takes
biting.
one, and the other two to sing about how great the old one was.
There you go. But the country music is still what people don't realize. Check me if I'm wrong. Country music is still about 60% of all music played in this country, is it not?
I believe
it
so.
Still is the largest genre of music that's played in the United States of America is country. Is that true?
I believe so. And to further that point, that the music that people ask me who your favorite artists are, I said, well, nobody you're hearing on the radio, because I'm kind of old school, you know, the Hank Williams and the Merle Haggards and that.
Yeah.
And I think going back to that, because country has crossed over so much, it's really not country.
Right.
I mean, don't give me the red Solo cups and the beach party in the back of your pickup truck. Give me down and dirty cowboys and you know, riding the range and all that those great songs that from the past that I don't know if this applies to you or it's old enough back for you, but my wife and I were both 60, and I have never missed an Alan Jackson concert. I mean, anywhere we can go find Alan Jackson, we go find him and we go listen to him. I don't know if that's back far enough for you or not, but to me, Alan Jackson was kind of he's the end of country as far as I'm concerned with his voice. George Strait's still pretty true to the range. You know, he's still.
And he's a little after Alan Jackson, wasn't he? He was a little after Alan Jackson, in his heyday.
But no, I'd say George Strait and them were pretty careers kind of paralleled each other. So
paralleled stuff, same time, yeah. But we just fell in love with that, and we grew up in Indiana, and the Indiana State Fair every year. Alan Jackson would come, and we would just scalp front row seats and be at every Alan Jackson event we could. And it's really funny because I'm like you. I'm out here in Los Angeles. These idiots don't play out here. Yeah, I would think that everybody would want to go to the Hollywood Bowl and do a concert. And it's like, I have not found anybody at the Hollywood Bowl yet that I want to go listen to. I want to see the Hollywood Bowl, but I've not found anybody that plays out here. I'm trying to get Gene Simmons and Kiss to play at the Hollywood Bowl on their last concert. It's like, just end there. End your career at the Hollywood Bowl. And you know, I mean, I've been past Gene Simmons' house all the time. I see where it's at. And, you know, you Kiss, they're doing their final tour right now. And everything, it's like, okay, just end your life.
Wait a second,
at the Hollywood Bowl.
Steve, Kiss has been doing their final tour for the last 25 years.
I know, for the last 25 years. I know, exactly. But I think he's 70 years old now. I think this put that makeup on and taking that crap off has got to be hard.
Well, the bad thing is you're wanting to go watch a concert where men are wearing makeup.
It's not men wearing makeup. It's Kiss. Are you kidding me? They are the most iconic rock band. I mean, their music.
Really? You think they're more iconic than the Beatles or Rolling Stones?
In their own way, they are. They're the best show performance band of all time.
I don't know how we went from country and western to you getting us off to Kiss.
I know. There we go. We got see, Jeff. This is why you guys just deal with us. We get off tangent all the time.
Yeah, we do, Jeff.
Let's get back on tangent. I get off tangent. You're right. I live in Hollywood.
I still prefer.
I live in the Valley.
I still prefer Mickey Gilley and Urban Cowboy. So.
Yeah, that was.
Jeff, is Mickey still alive? Is Mickey still alive, Jeff? Is he?
I think so.
Is Gilly still around?
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, because I went to Gillies at one point in time. When
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
It was great.
I went there one time. It's a big barn is what it was, basically. It was a dump. But Gillies, after Urban Cowboy, of course, everybody wanted to go to Gillies. So we were in Texas, and we said, let's go to Gillies one time. Like, okay, this is cool. Let's ride the bull. No, I don't want to ride the bull. Sorry, 6'8", you can't ride the bull. I'm 6'8". You're too big for the bull. You'll hurt the bull. Okay, great. Move on.
All right, so
Have you been to Billy Bob's?
Oh, there you go.
Have you guys been to Billy Bob's down there in Fort Worth? Billy Bob's, Bill Minnick and Pam Minnick?
No, I don't get out Indiana.
Was that the Billy Bob's that was kind of portrayed somewhat in? Was that who was the guys in Blues Brothers? Was that Billy Bob's? Did they go to Billy Bob's?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been.
Blues Brothers?
Right in the heart of downtown Fort Worth there, where they the stockyards where they took, they had cattle and stuff, and they've got all these great restaurants. And Billy Bob's.
But I've been to Austin enough times. Yeah, I've been to Austin enough times to know Austin's a great country music town. I mean, it may be next to Nashville. Nashville's more famous. Austin may actually be a great
Austin city limits.
Yeah, Austin may be a better country music town than actually Nashville, although Nashville's more famous for being a country music town. I think Austin may be better. They have a big They have a big blues or country festival down there every year, don't they? In Austin.
Yeah, but I think Nashville probably does more recording. But I think Austin music is, and that's what prompted this CD that Michael Martin Murphey did, called Austinology. It goes back to a compilation tape of all the great singer-songwriters from Austin, including Willie Nelson and stuff. So that was neat,
And how old's Willie Nelson? That guy he's like 90 now or something like that. He's got to be up there.
He's probably 84, 85. Yeah, and he's still singing.
And still smoking pot out of his ass, and still enjoying life large, isn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Hey, it's legal in California. It's legal. I mean, my son comes home every day, and he goes outside.
All right. We don't need to get into that. You're so liberal now since you moved to California, Steve.
I never touched it. I do not do drugs. I'll do anything else, but not drugs, including going to WeHo. Which, I'll go to WeHo if I need to. But Mike, that's West Hollywood, which is part of the world you probably in Indiana don't want to be a part of.
No,
so,
the land of fruits and nuts.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
It's predominantly fruits, right? Not nuts, or is it?
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot of everything. But you know what? The sad part is in WeHo, Jeff, am I right? Some of the best restaurants in the world are in West Hollywood. I mean, you've got to go there, and some great restaurants are there, and it's like, I got to go here. It's not your cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea, but you got to go to WeHo, and that's where some of the great restaurants are in Los Angeles and in Hollywood are in WeHo. So there you go. Move on. Let's not get in trouble on that one.
Well, how about this?
Let's let that go.
This is one thing that interests me, and I'll ask you, since you write songs, what is the process you go through if you're going to write a song?
It's the first thing I look for is a hook, and I make this joke when I perform. I said, a great hook is like, don't it make my brown eyes blue? And I always tell people, I said, my friend
Crystal Gale
gave me this dog, and it had a brown eye and a blue eye, and I wrote a song called Don't It Make My Brown Eye Blue, and then Crystal Gale changed it and made a lot more money than I did. But you look for a hook. You look for a hook is the first thing I do, and then I just pick up the guitar and write about that hook, and it just comes to you. You try different chord changes and stuff like that, and the process it keeps evolving. It's kind of like writing a book or anything. You keep editing it, and just one little word, when or where or something that really brings out the color of the thing what you're trying to say, or magnifies what you're trying to say. Instead of just saying I love you, there's 100 different ways of saying I love you, or it's over, and country songs are, I think one of my favorites of all time was He Stopped Loving Her Today. Well, once you stop loving somebody, well, he was dead. He died. That's why he stopped loving her, and that's a great song, a real staple to country music, if you ask me. But so that's my process. I leave the guitar.
How long does it take to write a country song? I mean, I've heard anything from 10 minutes to 10 weeks to 10 months. But if you get an idea in your head, it's really they're not complicated songs. But they're great ballads. All country songs basically tell a great story, probably more so than any other music genre there is. How long does it take you to come up and write a country song?
Well, I've written a couple funny ones. One called Butterface that took me maybe 10 minutes to write, about a guy that walks into a bar and this girl's walking out. She's got this great figure, and he asked the bartender who she was. He says, "Well, that's Butterface. She looks good, Butterface." It was just kind of a fun song, but something like that. You just and country music is fundamentally, a lot of country music is just three chords, and then if you get into the minor chords and stuff like that, and you keep trying to evolve the song to make it better, and change a line here or there, and so it can, like this last one that I wrote it over a year ago, but we kept evolving it till we got it to what's a cowgirl supposed to do, and we tweaked a couple things when we were down in Nashville, and so you can keep working a song in perpetuity if you want to, but I would say the good ones come to you pretty fast, and then you develop them as you go. So the answer is the same thing you said. It could take 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and it could take a year. Like my friend Dave Stamey, I told him I wrote that song in 50 minutes. He goes, "I take a year before I want to record a song." So there's two different ways to look at it, and so you can do either or. If it comes to you fast, you're lucky. If it comes to you slow, you're unlucky. So,
and so do people know how prolific, if I'm using the right word here, Dolly Parton is? Because Dolly Parton wrote music for just about pretty much every big-time country star. She wrote the music and did a lot of the songs. Is that a fair assessment to make? I mean, you're in the industry, Did she do?
Dolly
Elvis was always courting her to write music for her, and she didn't want to sell her music. Dolly wanted to keep her own music. Is that true?
I believe so. I think she's really street savvy, and one of the greatest all-time songs that she recorded in Whitney Houston was "I Will Always Love You."
Yeah.
I mean,
and Elvis wanted that. Elvis wanted that badly. Elvis,
okay.
Is that true that Elvis wanted that song badly? She wouldn't sell it to him?
I don't know that fact.
Okay.
But
right.
I think Elvis was a great lover of music. He just and you could tell it by the songs that he recorded that he knew what song was going to be successful for him, and he knew how to take. I tell people I'm a big Elvis fan growing up, and I said,
"Who's not?"
Yeah. Mary Had a Little Lamb and make it a beautiful song. He just had that dramatic voice, and was too bad he. A side note, talking about the current topic right now, that movie A Star Is Born. They made that movie 3 times. Well,
and I'll tell you, I still think the Streisand Christopherson version is the best version. I do not think this version tops this. Go ahead.
She wanted Elvis Presley to play that part.
Right.
And he said,
right.
"Okay."
And Tom Parker turned it down.
Billing. He wanted equal billing. That's the only thing he wanted. And that might have turned his life around, off the prescription drugs and stuff like that. Maybe made him wake up. And don't you think? Can you imagine Elvis playing that part with?
No, I cannot imagine anybody but Chris Christopherson playing that part, because I think Chris Christopherson did such a phenomenal job in acting. I mean, I don't know that anybody could have played that part better than Chris Christopherson, because he was vulnerable. He was out there. I mean, I thought that we've had this discussion because we just watched it just came out on iTunes, and we watched the new one with Cooper and Lady Gaga. It's great. It's a great song, but I didn't think they developed the characters as well. I thought the characters were much more developed better with Esther Hoffman Howard and John Norman Howard. I thought they were much more developed, and I thought it was a better movie. I tell everybody, I said, if you really want to see A Star Is Born, and the first one I think had Judy Garland in it, wasn't it? Was she in the original one? Yeah, I think so.
Well,
and
I actually saw the original one in black and white, and it's pretty good how the gal's out of the
it's good too. But Chris Christopherson made that movie. I mean, and is he an underrated country western singer in terms of what he contributed to the music industry? Because he's pretty much just known for that movie. Is that true or not?
You know, that my first in '78, my first exposure to acting was Semi-Tough with Chris Christopherson and Burt Reynolds.
Yeah,
and we'd play guitars. But Chris is he's a Rhodes Scholar. He is.
People don't know that.
He was in the military, and that song that he wrote, Sunday Morning Coming Down. I mean, the beer I had for breakfast wasn't bad, so I had one more for dessert. You know, my cleanest dirty shirt. Who comes up with stuff like that? I mean, that's throw your pencil in the air kind of writing. And I would say Chris was a brilliant writer. Is a brilliant writer. He's still performing, I guess.
I've not seen him. I've not seen any body of his work that I can, but I know that when I watched the latest version and I don't want to tell you anything, Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, that was a great movie. It was fun to watch. It was a great song. They got an Oscar for it. But I just think Streisand and Christopherson, the chemistry there was so much better between those two for the entire body of the movie.
Yeah,
you know, and the characters were more developed. Yeah,
I think every one that they've done has been a big success, hasn't it? Every remake of A Star Is Born has been a big success. So,
well, it's a great story. I mean, it's an easy story to tell. I mean, it's a great story. Right. Yeah, I mean, Hollywood right now is all about just remaking everything. You know, let's make another Jurassic Park. Let's make another Star Wars. Let's make another
Rocky,
you know, whatever
Rocky.
we're. The Rocky. Let's make another Rocky.
Hey, there can never be enough Rockies.
There you go. I know.
Watch it, Jeff.
There we go.
Watch it.
The old movies.
Go ahead, Mike.
Come on now. Nothing's better than Rocky, the original.
Yo, Adrian, I don't believe in condominiums. I don't buy them. You know, I own condoms. Yeah, me and Adrian have condominiums.
He doesn't believe in condominiums. It's because Rocky's kind of slow, like Steve, and he thought that they meant condoms. I have to explain this stuff to Steve all the time. And
you know, the original Rocky, I'm very slow.
The original Rocky, Apollo Creed, they tried to get Joe Frazier to be Apollo Creed.
Did they really?
Right?
I did not know that.
And that would have never worked because you couldn't have had... I mean, the Apollo Creed character was actually based off Muhammad Ali. They couldn't get Ali, so they tried to get Frazier, and he almost did it, which may have changed it. Sylvester Stallone still might be in gay Italian porn movies if he'd have done that.
Well, no, and here's the deal. Here's the deal. My son comes in, and Jeff, you know about this because every time my son comes home every day, he works for LucasArts. We have to sign a non-disclosure agreement with him. Like,
is that right?
We can't talk about we can't talk about what he's working on.
Hey,
I mean, you know,
Jeff,
they have
Jeff. So you know, Steve's son was doing that in elementary school with Steve too.
But Jeff knows about non-disclosure agreements. It's like you can't talk about what the hell. You know, I can tell you, but I'll have to kill you. It's no problem.
That's right.
I will tell you about what I did today if you sign a non-disclosure agreement. So we're out here, and he said that Carl Weathers was actually going to be in the next Star Wars project. He's like, he came on set today. He said, I was standing there, and there was George Lucas.
Well, and Carl Weathers played in the NFL too.
Yeah, and there was Carl Weathers, and he thought Carl Weathers was the coolest of the three guys. It's like, that's fucking Apollo Creed. That's what he said and what he thought. It's like I stood next to Apollo Creed, and that's how big that movie series is. But now if we broadcast this, I'm dead because Mike, we can't put this on air now.
Because you said the F word?
I have a non-disclosure agreement now. No, because I don't have a non-disclosure agreement with my son.
Well, that's tough. I don't have one either, so I don't care.
Let me give you a funny Carl Weathers story. Carl went to Long Beach Poly. I went to Long Beach Wilson. And then we both went to Long Beach City College and were teammates there. And Carl was always a little dramatic, but a great guy. I mean, a great guy. Really, really tough dude. And he told me about when he auditioned for Rocky. He goes in this room, and here's this guy just one-on-one, just him, and he's waiting to meet the director or the producer and stuff to read for them. Well, he was reading with Stallone. He didn't even know who Stallone was at the time, and Stallone was
nobody then. Yeah.
Right. He was calling the shots, and that's how he got that part. And Carl's had a great career, really great, really good guy. Really good guy.
Ross said he was the nicest guy in the world. Ross said, my son said he just took to him, and my son, he's in production and some acting. He does both, but he said that Carl Weathers was a guy that just was approachable. And that's how he defines it. He's approachable, which a lot of the people out here in Hollywood, as you know, Jeff, you live out here.
Guys,
they're not approachable.
That's the problem with Hollywood. That's the problem with Hollywood. I found, and I hit it pretty hard for about 15 years, and then I kind of said, well, I'm not going to beat the pavement anymore. I don't need to. But I love the profession, but the people were either so insecure or they were just the nicest people in the world. There was no in between. No in between.
Isn't that true? That's so true, yeah.
I ran into Clint Eastwood out at Palm Springs playing golf with Bighorn, and we were at the putting green. I said hi. And
I played Bighorn. Yeah, I played Bighorn.
Great course. Yeah, and I said to him, I did a few things, and I love your music. I love your politics and everything. And I said, it's a crazy business. And he looked at me right in the eye and he stopped. He goes, you got that right. In other words, he's seen so much in all the years that he's been doing it. The craziness, the insecurities, the egomaniacs and stuff. But I just hope he can put out good stuff like Eastwood does. I mean, I think he puts out good product out there.
Yeah, even today, the movies he does are very good.
And I remember my one of the most favorite moments of my life is, Jeff, I sat at Greyhawk in Arizona, Scottsdale. You know where that is? I'm sure if you play golf, you know where Scottsdale and Greyhawk. I sat out and watched the sunset with Alice Cooper, and that was so freaking cool. Alice Cooper and I are standing outside and watching the sunset at Greyhawk, and I'm like, I'm standing next to Alice Cooper, and he's just looking at me like, isn't this a cool sunset? There are some people like that. You get this opinion of them. They're like, oh, Alice Cooper's weird. He bites bats' heads off or whatever the hell he tries to do on TV, whatever. But he was the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah.
We sat there and watched the sunset.
Just a regular Joe.
Yeah.
Just a regular guy.
Yeah, he's a regular Joe. He's a normal guy that you think, okay, this is not the Alice Cooper I see on TV. But we stood out there, and he had his long hair. You know, he didn't have his makeup on, so and we just both played separately. We didn't play together, but he was at Greyhawk when I was there, and we both played. And we all walked outside and said, "Look at the sunset," and I'm standing next to Alice Cooper watching the sunset. How cool is that? I mean, it was
down to earth.
Yeah, he's down to earth, very down to earth, and a lot of these guys are. And it's great to hear that Clint Eastwood is too, because I think he would be a guy you'd want to go have dinner with one night. And we went to his restaurant in Monterey, Boar's Nest, I think it's called. And then his restaurant in Boar's Nest. We went there and had dinner, and he wasn't there, obviously, but I was working for the Golf Channel at the time, doing some stuff with them, and it's just, he owned the town, even though he wasn't in the town, and because he was mayor. I think he was mayor of Monterey for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah,
sure was. Carmel.
Because he didn't like the politics. He didn't like the politics going on.
Yeah, and there's a man who could change things, and that's cool to hear from another actor to say that's really neat. Let's get into your body of work. You want to start with North Dallas 40, or you want to end with North Dallas 40, Jeff?
Just start with it. That's where it started, basically. So, Jeff?
No, he did 9.5 weeks. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
That's the biggest body of work.
To tell you
he did 9.5 weeks.
I hate to tell you this,
That's
Steve.
the greatest movie of all time.
1986 is not before 1979.
Well, let me stop both of you, and I'll give you a little synopsis of how this all happened. I'm playing football, and in the off season, and I think 77, 78, they go. I got a call from Tom Fears, the great wide receiver from the Rams, Hall of Famer, because he was doing the technical stuff on a movie called Semi Tough with Burt Reynolds and
Burt Reynolds,
Severson. Yeah. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
So I got this part, and it's a fun story about who is it that wrote that? I'll think of it as we get along here. Anyway, we just had a great time, and Reynolds was funny and doing all his deals, and Christopherson, real nice guy, and so that was my first exposure. I was talking to Bert, and I said, well Bert, because he was a running back at Florida State, I think.
Yeah.
And I said, you doing all right with this? He said, yeah. I think he made $1 million on that picture alone in the 70s. And we're about the same height and everything, and so I said, well, maybe I'll pursue this a little bit more. The next off season, I get a call from Fears, and he says, I want you to come up to Paramount and read for a part for this film called North Dallas 40. So I went up to Paramount, and I got the part. Now, the interesting thing about the movie, guys, is the fact that there were about 3 of us that were pro ball players that got, acting or speaking parts or very nice parts in it. One was Matuzak.
You and Matuzak. Matuzak would be the other one. Yeah. Who's the third?
His name was Carlos Brown. He changed it to Alan Autry. Alan was a quarterback with Green Bay, and he was the guy that played opposite me all that time. He became Bubba on the Heat of the Night or whatever. Yeah. That was Alan Autry, who was a quarterback with Green Bay. So him and I played off each other. Bo Swenson and Matuzak played off each other. And then Nick Nolte and Mac were the 2 leads. Now Nolte, a lot of people don't know this, but Nolte was a very good athlete. He was 42 when he made that movie, and that's when you start.
He looked every bit of it too. When I watched it last night, I'm 60. I'm watching him get out of bed with his nose, all his bleeding. I'm like, oh my God, he looks like me. That's how I get out of bed every morning, and I'm not a pro athlete.
Yeah. So anyway, I get the part in that, and it was so much fun because it was like being in training camp without any pressure of doing the pressures of a training camp where you got to. So we just had to go by the script, and I think that when Pete Jenton wrote it, he took what he experienced in Dallas, and I tell people, I said, I've seen all of that happened in professional football in my 9 years from 71 through 79. I've seen all that, but not as intensified like this was in like 1 week. The game was basically a week in the life of a Dallas Cowboy. And guys, we got ran out of Dallas. We flew down to Dallas to do the movie, and the NFL didn't cooperate with us, and Tom Landry did not want to expose the film because he knew that what was going to come out of it. Now today, you read the newspaper and you got all this stuff going on every single day in the NFL, and that's too bad. There are some great guys, but the published part of it is the guys that do stupid things. But the film was just so much fun to make. Yeah.
How accurate? Because Mike and I have talked before, and we both agree. We talk. We do get off on tangents as we're doing right now. Obviously, we get off on tangents. How accurate was North Dallas 40? Because I think it's one of the more accurate sports movies ever made. I played at the college level and played over in Europe in basketball. I never got to play in the NBA. It's white man's disease. I couldn't run, jump, or shoot, so that took me out of that game. So, and I couldn't act, so I didn't come to Hollywood until my son decided he wanted to come try and act. But how accurate was North Dallas 40 in terms of movie genre?
I would say, like I said, I've seen all of that in the NFL. I remember we had Dave Copay in training camp, and they cut him, and then he came out that he was, a gay man, and we all kind of knew it because he just was a little bit different, and so I saw that, and that's what they tried to do with me and Carlos Brown. In fact, I'll tell you a funny scene. You remember when Alan Autry, who was Green Bay quarterback, was pounding his knuckles on the piano, and he points to me, and I'm dancing with this girl, and they break it up, and he says, "All right, I want you guys to fight over the girl, and then kiss each other." And our director was a guy named Katcha, Walter Kotchup. I think I've got the name right.
I got it right here.
I think Ted was the director, wasn't he? Ted Katcha?
Ted was the director. Ted Katcha. Yeah.
Ted Katcha.
I watched the damn movie at 3:30 this morning. I got so damn many notes. It's unbelievable.
So anyway, he tells me, Stephen, Mike, he tells me, I said, I really don't want to kiss him. He says, he goes, "You've never kissed a man?" I said, "Hell no, I've never kissed a man." So we had to do that just to appease them. At the very end, we kiss each other like we're buddies, and But that was a great scene, and that was Howard Hawks' home, and we filmed all night long at that place. And
Howard Hawks' home. I did not know that. How cool is that?
Yeah, Howard Hawks' home.
That was Howard Hawks' home where you filmed the pool scene and everything that's going on in that party?
Yeah.
That was Howard Hawks' home.
You bet.
How
and it was
cool.
a beautiful home. Yeah.
Wow. That is great. I did not know that. I did pull that out of the movie. So I did not know that.
Oh, and
so
another
while we're on the subject, talk about John Henry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got guys with a lot of testosterone going on. So, I mean, everybody was, they're young athletes and that everybody's chasing girls. So that was always there. I mean, the drugs, I was one of the few that never partaked. I said, I need stuff.
Yeah, you claim that now. Yeah, you claim that now. Right. Exactly.
No, honestly, really. But I mean, I saw amphetamines being dispersed, and by the trainers and stuff. Well, not directly by the trainers. They gave them to somebody else to pass around if they wanted them, amphetamines. And I know that there were guys that smoked marijuana all the time, and there were guys that did the harder drugs. But that's society too. I mean, don't just say that the athlete is the only one that's doing it, or it could be the actor, the singer, the songwriter, the doctor, the lawyer, the Indian chief. So, but because of the NFL, I remember Al Cowlings one time said we're traveling and the doctor was handing out sleeping pills. He goes, man, why you hand out sleeping pills? We need guys to be blowing and going instead of, sleeping all night long and then playing a football game. So, there was and remember San Diego Chargers, they were giving guys steroids down there. And so all that stuff came into play in the movie, and all the I saw guys getting their knees shot up and stuff to play a game so it wouldn't pain. Dick Butkus went through that, and he's one of the only guys that have sued the NFL and won on that on a knee deal that he never should have been playing. Now they have. I always tell people this. What do they call it when they take you into the tent and all that stuff? The
concussion protocol.
Concussion.
Yeah,
concussion protocol. They say, how many fingers am I showing up? And they'd have 2, and you say 4, and they go, that's close enough. Get back in there. Nowadays, and back in our days, if the guys would have gone in a blue tent, they'd have had a beer and a hot dog.
All right, so let me ask you, in terms of that movie, and how accurate how accurate was that movie? Because I think North Dallas 40, I played college basketball at about the same time, and I got a lot of the same, even in Indiana. There were things, you got shot up, you did what you needed to do to go play. You just did what you needed to do. And you partied, and there were parties, and there was no social media, so you didn't worry about today. What you worry about today is like, oh, God, it's going to get put on social media somewhere. So you didn't really worry about it. How accurate was North Dallas 40 in terms of a movie? As being a player in the NFL.
It was the first real exposure about what the NFL really, and to this day, as you know, it's still a popular movie. It's still, people watch it and tell, hey, I saw you on North Dallas the other day. You look at what the Dallas Cowboys were with Gil Brandt and Tom Landry. Tom Landry was not a player's coach. He did not embrace his players at all.
Well, Bob Knight was not either. I played for Bob Knight, and he was not either. We didn't want to be friends with him. He didn't want to be friends with us. We didn't care, and we wanted to get as far away from him as we could. I get that mentality entirely.
Yeah. So that's why Landry didn't want this movie to happen. And if you remember, the Cowboys had a really great scouting combine. They even got Cornell Green was a basketball player, I think, that became a great all-pro safety. And they would once in the 70s, guys, you got to realize that once you were drafted, they owned you. Yeah. You could play out your option, but they had a gentleman's agreement that don't sign any free agents. And that's how they suppress the salaries. And now people like Butkus and Ditka and John Riggins, they have this big thing about it's called fair, and we're trying to make the public aware. Our sport was the most dangerous, and our retirement package is 1/3 of what the NBA or hockey or Major League Baseball is. And so these guys are finally, with the collective bargaining agreement coming up next year, they'll probably kick up the retirement, because there's guys that are really hurting out there that are in their 70s or early 80s now that are really physically a mess. 10 knee operations and shoulders and crippled and dementia and all this stuff. So that's what's going on. But back to your original question. The way the Cowboys operated with their computer and all that stuff, that was all what the Cowboys were about. The drugs that were out there that the guys took, whether it was administered by the team physicians or they took bennies or whatever, amphetamines to get up for the games. It was prevalent. It was prevalent in that era. So it really in that era, really did hit on. And I know for a fact that George Allen and Landry, they had, they were those organizations were so big that they would have people watching their players to make sure they weren't, going overboard and burning the candle at both ends. And all of a sudden they would make this speech about it's been reported that guys were out doing this, that. Well, so they had their sources to find out, whether it was through law enforcement or private guys. That was all
the Charles Durning character. That would be the Charles Durning character that played. Where his he was a trainer or something, whatever. I don't even know what his role was in the movie. I think he was a trainer or something.
No,
he
was
or assistant coach.
Charles Durning, God love him. He was.
He
landed. Landed in Normandy, and he was just the greatest guy. We were represented by the same agency, Jack Field's agency, and Charles Durning was just a hoot. He was just so approachable and so much fun, and he would do his James Cagney imitation, and I can't do it, but because it's X-rated, but it was funny as hell. Oh, Marsha, that's good, Marsha. Stop, Marsha.
I spent 25 years working for Pfizer, and we launched a drug called Aricept, which is for dementia. It doesn't cure it; it slows the depression. But Charles Durning came on. He did one of the most compelling skits live at one of our meetings about somebody going through dementia, and the acting caps that he had, process. I mean, it was unbelievable as an actor. And I agree with you. He came out and he talked to every single person that wanted to talk to him, wanted to speak to him, wanted to get a picture taken with him. Yeah, he stood there until 1:00 in the morning. I think. I mean, we all just. I want my picture taken with Charles Durning, and what a great actor he was. And really classy guy. From my experience with him was really classy. So it's good to hear.
He's a great man and really was loved by everybody. Getting back to another point in the story we're talking about, see, the tough thing that I had to do is, am I taking the role of an actor or hanging out with my NFL guys? Because that's what made the movie. When Ted Kotcheff started the movie, you have different categories. You have your the people that are just hired just to be background, and then you had your football players that were a step above that, and then you had your people that were, cast in parts. So the first few days, and we had Louis Kelcher played for the Chargers. Harold Jackson, a great receiver from the Rams and the Eagles. And at first, this assistant director started pushing the guys around, and we just grabbed it. We just grabbed him and said, all right, you don't run the show here like that. So you don't tell us we're not cattle. And Ted Kotcheff, beginning, didn't have much respect for professional football players. By the end of the film, he was hanging out with the football players because he found us more interesting than the actors and stuff in the deal. So that was a big transformation for Hollywood there. They just felt it, and they said at the end, if we didn't have pro athletes, we couldn't have duplicated what really goes on, because you can't get an actor to be a football player. Unless he's played, yeah.
And when you watch the scenes between Matuzak and Bo Svensson, you see a realism like these guys are idiots, but that's what you want on your team. You want idiots on your team. You want these guys who are just going to go out and take a guy out and do what they got to do to win the game. And that was the realism to me of the movie. Mike, where did Matuzak play college in football?
I don't know.
Florida. It was Florida. Yeah, it was Florida.
Was it Miami or Florida?
I want to say Miami. I want to say University of Miami.
I think it's Miami also.
Number one pick by the Houston Oilers, 73.
73, yeah.
73.
I did not realize he had passed away. I did not realize that John Matuzak had passed away.
Yeah, he died like
John,
20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. Yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah, John was a good soul, but he got into the drugs, and that was his demise. You know, he did some acting. We did an A-Team together. That was kind of fun, a football segment. And then he did that. He played that big old ghoul on one of those. I forget
Goonies, the Goonies, the Goonies, or something like that, or the Goonies. Yeah, he was on the Goonies. I'm reading on Wikipedia, so I'm not going to make it up like I know this. I'm reading it right now on Wikipedia. So I mean, which Mike will tell me right now. Mike, go ahead and say what you're going to say. Wikipedia is not accurate, so don't believe everything you read on Wikipedia. I get that, Mike. I get chastised by Mike all the time, Jeff, so don't sweat it.
And Jeff's been on here for almost an hour, so Jeff knows why. Go ahead, Jeff.
I thought I was on with Cosell and Meredith for a while. You know?
Yeah. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
And Steve would be the color guy, correct?
Yeah, anybody can sing country music. That's the one thing you learn right there. They can sing country music.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what's more relevant to you, your football career or your acting career,
or your music career?
Or your music career? Yeah, any one of three. You've got a guy who's done everything that everybody wants to do. I want to sing, I want to act, and I want to play sports. What was the most important thing to you as being Jeff?
You know, God, I tell people, I said, and I've written a song called No Regrets. If I had to do it all over again, I didn't miss a thing. You know, and I didn't miss a thing. The football, I worked my butt off. In the off season, I got in real estate, and that's worked out beautifully. And then the opportunity to get into, I always was a ham, but to get into the movie industry and have a retirement in it and have some success in it, and then to be able to eventually become a little bit better singer and better songwriter as I'm getting more seasoned, that has been it's almost like God has just said, okay, we're going to be football now, we're going to do country music, this, and then do some acting here, and then my last goal, and Mike, I think we talked about this. When I went to Long Beach State, Jim Stanglin had came down from USC and had a great record. So we went there because we knew he'd have success. And we had a running back there, and Steve, this will be interesting to you. We had a running back named Leon Burns.
Yeah.
Does it involve a Kardashian? If it involves a Kardashian, it's interesting to me. If it doesn't, it's not interesting to me.
So Leon had been in prison for 5 years on something he didn't do, but they accused him of it, and he lifted weights, and he was a sprinter, black kid out of Oakland, great sprinter. So he lifts weights. He comes out of jail weighing 228, 6'1.5", bench presses 550 pounds, and became an All-American. And we beat San Diego State's best team ever with Coryell and Joe Gibbs down there to go to a bowl game, and we played Louisville. And Leon was shot and killed he was the number one draft choice by the San Diego Chargers. But by then he was 28 years old. And I told this story to Ron Shelton. I did a movie with him called The Best of Times. I played Johnny O, the star running back from Bakersfield. And Ron Shelton, now this is an interesting story. Ron Shelton, he loved the story. Ex-con becomes All-American, and we beat San Diego State and shot and killed. We're pitching it to Leslie Moonves, who was with Lorimar at the time. Of course, you know, Leslie's made the news.
Yeah.
So I got Ron Shelton and myself are pitching this movie called, and we made a bumper sticker with Leon holding his German fullback over his head without even a blink of an eye. And it's a great story of what Leon went through and what we all went through at Long Beach State to become champions. And I'm still trying to get. I've got a guy from Disney now that's taking a look at that. But I'm trying to get. That would be my last goal to achieve. The all of this has kind of evolved from being an athlete to getting into acting, and the security blanket has been the real estate investments, and then going to having a couple of my songs recorded on a bigger level. It's just a great life. I feel so.
So are you in real estate now? So you're not on $1 million listings on Bravo TV? You're not part of that? Are you in real estate right now?
Well, when I was 21, we started buying apartment buildings here in Long Beach, and I got my real estate license in the off season. So we bought properties.
Yeah, I got mine out here too. I've got my real estate license out here too now. Yeah. So
I still own property that I bought in the 70s and early 80s. So it's just a gold mine now. So, and I just tell people, I said that has made it a very comfortable life, that I can do what I want and come and go when I want and spend time on other things, supporting my schools, and I do a Special Olympics tournament every year to help raise money for a good cause. So I'm just really blessed. I really am. I just feel very blessed that I've been able to do these things that the average guy never gets a chance to do.
If there's something I can do to help you out with your with the Special Olympics, I did that in Indiana. I'd love to help you out. I can get Bob Knight autograph basketball. I can get that. Well, we hope we can.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah, but I would love, so you and I can talk off air on that. But I would love, here in California, I had a voice in Indiana. I don't really have a voice in California. And I would love to help you out because I love Special Olympics. That's a great cause. And, I do a lot of stuff right now with Paul Works, which animal rescue and things like that. We do a lot of stuff out here, and we've gotten involved with Paul Works and things and done things for them too. But, a couple things. In terms of making a movie, I've been in touch with Angelo Pizio. I'm trying to get him to make a movie called Risley. He doesn't want to make it yet. I don't know why. Mike, can you figure out why he doesn't want to make that movie?
Because nobody wants to watch it?
Nobody wants to watch it. I agree. It is what it is.
I'm just guessing, Steve. But
I'm going to, you know what? Hollywood is all about throwing your crap on the wall and letting it stick and see what sticks and what doesn't stick. Well, that's what it is.
Your crap.
My son goes through a job interview every 8 to 12 weeks. And Jeff, I'm sure you know that he's finishing up a project right now and he's got to go find a new job. Where I spent 25 years with Pfizer, he's got to go out in 2 weeks, and the project's wrapping up, and he's got to go find something else to go do, and that's what's hard about this industry out here. So, the last question, yeah, it's a very tough racket. We live it every day with him. It's like, hey, dude, you got a car payment you got to make tomorrow, and where is your next dollar coming from? Because I don't have the money. I'm on retirement. I don't have the money to make it. Your car payment. You got to go figure it out. In your eyes, Jeff, what is the most important or best sports movie ever made? In your eyes, that you're in the industry, what's the best one of all time in your eyes?
Well, if I could. I love the Lou Gehrig story. I love that. I
love that too. Yeah. Gary Cooper?
Yep. Gary Cooper was a perfect fit for that. In fact, we were in Washington, D.C. when Remember the Titans was going on in the early 70s.
Mike said on that.
Don't get me started on
totally
that.
Inaccurate. Yeah, don't get started on that. Don't keep going there. That's the most inaccurate movie, sports movie ever made.
But you can't say it's true. They integrated the school 6 years before. And the little girl that's with her dad, the dad actually had broke up with the mom, and he had nothing to do with her. So, but it's a hell of a movie. Yeah. It's just like Rudy. I don't like the way they portray Dan Devine because that's not true. But
I'm sorry, Jeff. We sidebar all the time. Go ahead. What's your favorite?
They're always taking a license a little bit to when I say
Hollywood.
They take a license.
Hollywood has to take a license.
Hollywood, yeah. They
have to.
That's why
stories are boring.
Sensationalized. Rudy was sensationalized. One of my buddies was a coach there. Bill Myers was coaching for Notre Dame. He says that's not exactly how it went. But I'll tell you one thing. I met Rudy at an NFL golf tournament, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, my grandsons love Notre Dame." And he said, "Well, I'm really glad to meet you, Jeff." And he said, "Give me your address." Well, 3 weeks later in the mail, Rudy sends a Notre Dame jersey, and his number was 45, which was my number in college, autographed from him. He took the time to do that.
Yeah.
He took the time to do it. So I thought that was a good deal.
I don't think the way the movie comes out had anything to do with Rudy Rudiger anyways. That's just the license that they took with it. So
yeah.
Yeah, but Jeff, I know where you're coming because I got to play as an IU basketball player. I got to play in Fuzzy Zeller's. He has a big golf tournament in Southern Indiana every year. I had to play in it one year as a former IU basketball player, which is big in Indiana. It doesn't mean crap in California. I've already learned that because I can't get a table at Mateo's to save my ass. But I got Kevin Costner was the big celebrity of the year that year, and I have a picture and have a poster framed in my house of Kevin Costner signing the poster for Field of Dreams. And Field of Dreams is my favorite sports movie of all time. It's really not a sports movie. It's a movie about meeting your dad and growing up and revisiting your dad, but baseball is the genre or the vehicle which they go take that to. Exactly. It's not a sports movie. It's a movie, baseball's just a vehicle that gets you to that genre.
Well, and that I think
dad
this
and
is
son
the
having
thing.
a catch. You want to have a catch.
I think every great sports movie is not really about the sport. If you look at, we talked about Rocky.
Exactly, yeah.
Rocky is about Rocky falling in love with Adrian and how that changes his life.
Exactly, you're right.
It's a
all
love
the
story.
Yeah.
But
and I just went out on eBay. I went on eBay the other day and I bought my son a mitt, and I bought him a mitt, a Wilson A3000. I bought him one, and I'm just like, you know what? My son's 25. He lives out here. He's kind of distant. He does his own thing. I do my own thing, and it's like I want the mitt's coming. I'm just going to give it to him and say, let's just go have a catch. Let's just go have a catch, and that's what's great about sports movies is that they're not really always about sports. Like I don't think Bull Durham was about baseball. It was about the love affair of being in the minor leagues and about growing up and about, everything below the big show, as they call it in the movie. It's the same thing. But North Dallas 40 to me was an important movie. I think it really began to tell the story of what professional sports is all about. Is that a fair assessment?
It exposed the NFL. Let me go back.
Right.
Ron Shelton, a movie that he did that wasn't, but I loved the movie, and that was the one about the baseball player that.
Bang the drum slowly?
No.
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 He sucked.
Okay. It was hard to watch, no doubt. Yeah.
Who was the wild man? He made a fortune in Coca-Cola stock and all that stuff.
Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb.
Did you see that movie? That was a good movie. That was a good movie.
Yeah, that starred Mike. Who was the actor in that? Who was
I don't
the guy
know.
that?
I
Tommy
saw
Lee,
it once.
Tommy Lee,
I know it is completely
Tommy Lee
inaccurate,
Jones. Tommy Lee Jones played Ty Cobb, right?
Yeah.
And
it was a hit piece by Al Stump.
Who was the writer?
Al Stump. It was a complete hit piece. It was all proven to be inaccurate, and they basically ruined Ty Cobb's life. Or the history of his life.
Yeah, and don't go there with Mike. Really? Mike loves
Well,
Ty Cobb,
this is the thing. I got to interview Charles Learson, who's a New York Times writer, who wrote the book about Al Stump. And Al Stump, it seems, wanted to interview Ty Cobb, and this was in the 50s, and Ty Cobb refused to do the interview. And Al Stump got pissed off, and Al Stump was an alcoholic. And you can look this up. He had a hard time keeping a job. And he just went ahead.
Robert Wool.
Robert Wool.
Robert
and he
Wool
went ahead, and he just wrote the book. But this is the thing. They portrayed him as a racist and all this and said that, he shot a black man. And he didn't. And the thing that was a bitch was this. I researched this after I talked to Learson just because I don't ever believe anything I see unless I research it myself. And he's telling me this isn't true about Cobb. I grew up, I read Al Stump's book when I was in grade school in the 70s. I saw the movie in 92, and I assumed that that's how Ty Cobb was. And I went on YouTube, and you can go on YouTube and find an interview with Ty Cobb in like the late 1940s where he's complaining because he didn't get to play against the best black athletes because they were kept out of baseball. And after the Learson interview, I got a message from one of Ty Cobb's grandsons, and I got to talk to him for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and he's telling me, he said none of this was true, and when we tried to get our story out before Charles Learson, everybody ignored us and just wanted to believe this movie. And it wasn't Ron Shelton's fault because Ron Shelton was just going off of a book. And Ron Shelton, I know a boxer out there by the name of Alex Ramos, who was a middleweight contender, who Ron Shelton helped start the Retired Boxers Foundation, which is one of the sponsors for our boxing show. And he loves Ron Shelton. He said Ron Shelton will give you the shirt off his back. So this isn't a shot at him. This is a shot at Al Stump. And that's my problem with when you veer so far off the facts in a movie, it ends up hurting people. Dan Devine, and I've got to talk to Rocky Blyer about this and multiple guys that played at Notre Dame like Terry Hanratty, and they're all like, putting him in the game, nobody ever turned their jerseys in. And the thing was, Rudy didn't even have a brother. And the black guy that it was the grounds crew guy didn't exist. Mm-hmm. The story of Rudy, I think, is just as great. Just the fact that this dude walked on at Notre Dame and got to play in a game. I don't think you really got to make stuff up to sell that movie. Now, they sensationalize stuff. I don't see the need for it. And if you're going to, don't say it's based on a true story, because you were in two of my favorite football movies. The other one was The Best of Times. I don't know if you saw that or not, Steve, but that was with Robin Williams and Kurt Russell. What was it like to work with Robin Williams?
That had to be fun.
Bless his heart. We've lost him now, but I tell people, I said, Robin Williams was the nicest guy and the brightest guy. And when you're on a set, you have hours to sit around while they're waiting to set up cameras and electronics and microphones and stuff. And Robin was just a delight. You could say beer can, and he'd do 15 minutes on a beer can and just have you in stitches. His mind was so fast and so quick. But funny little story. I played Johnny O, the star running back, and we're in the banker's office, and he and Robin Williams was his son-in-law. So Robin's off camera, and I'm sitting on the desk with a suit on, and they go, hey, talk to the great Johnny O. So we're waiting for this to all start, and Robin was just so funny and so quick. So we're ad-lib. I'm on the phone with him, and he's off camera. So we're chatting it up, and Robin's being funny, and he goes, hey, Johnny O, have you ever won an Emmy? And I hold my Super Bowl ring up, and I go, hello, Super Bowl headquarters? Has Robin ever been there? No? Okay, thank you very much. And everybody got so it was a delight to just to spar back and forth with Robin, because he was so nice and such a brilliant guy. And I guess he just it was probably his demise. His mind was so active and so quick that it probably was his demise.
And the deal he did on golf, we've all seen the golf video. The one he did on golf. I love that. 18 fucking times. They give you false hope. They put a sand trap out there and on water. They think you're there. And they do it once, hell no. We do it 18 fucking times. It's like that's probably the greatest stretch of comedy you've ever, if you're an athlete and you play golf, which, I know you and I do, Jeff. Mike, I don't know if Mike plays golf.
Mike used to play golf.
But
told you, I played golf until like 2005, and then my only other buddy
you played
played
putt-putt.
golf.
You
no,
played putt-putt.
I played actual golf. And by the way, I did play putt-putt last year, and I did shoot 4 under par. But I had a buddy I golfed all the time with, but then his wife became a lesbian, and he, couldn't take it and left. So,
but
that's a true story too.
It was, and I've watched a lot of documentaries on Robin Williams too. It's like the genius that man had. It was almost like you could see his demise coming the way it ended, because his mind was so high speed all the time.
Exactly.
It's like nobody can ever actually live that life and be that funny and be that on all the time and not go crazy. And not end up doing stupid things. It's sad. We lost a genius. We lost a genius.
We really did, yeah. Steve, you got to watch.
We did. We lost a genius.
There was a scene where the premise of the movie is Robin Williams dropped the touchdown pass 15 years ago on their high school game, and their lives and their wives are all it's the shits, and so they get Kurt Russell, who was the star quarterback. They get to replay the game to build their lives back up. So Bakersfield was a big powerhouse. And this was the one time they had the chance that Chaps had a chance to beat him. And so Robin is a wide receiver, and he's lined up, and he's got his glasses on, and he's lined up against this black defensive back, and they're talking. His name was Dr. Death.
Yeah.
and Robin says to him, he goes, Dr. Death said, I'm gonna kill you, and he goes, well, I've got some pretty good moves for a Caucasian.
Well, what came first, Best of Times or Mr. Destiny? Which one? Wasn't Mr. Destiny the one that had Belushi in it and Michael Caine?
Best of Times was about 84, 85.
86. I've got it on IMDb right now. It's 86.
You haven't seen that, Steve? You got to see that movie.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen that movie. I'll watch it. I'll watch it this afternoon. No problem.
Yeah, it's
good. I remember Mr. Destiny.
I don't remember that movie. I'll look for it.
Let me see. That had, like I said, it had Jim Belushi. It's one where, Larry he hits the fly ball. It's the same concept. He hits the fly ball, strikes out or something, does that, but then they go back, and Michael Caine is the angel that comes down and he hits the home run, and then how his life changes by doing, that was 1990. So so Best of Times was earlier. So I'm looking on IMDb right now. So
86.
Anyway, 86
right.
in the versus 1990. Yeah.
Jeff. Go ahead and
great
get
stuff
you out of here.
Thank
I know
you so much.
You're probably a busy man that doesn't need.
We're going to make a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to turn this into a Roots miniseries.
Have you, Jeff? Have you seen the Thunderbirds flying over? Or I don't know if they flew over Long Beach or not. They've been flying over the valley all week.
Haven't seen it. We got rain all day today down here in Long Beach.
Well, yeah, but they're filming. The Thunderbirds are doing some movie out here, and Thunderbirds. I mean, I'm thinking. I called my wife. I said, I think we're being attacked because there are fighter jets flying over my house every 2 minutes. And Van Nuys Airport's out here. Bob Hope Airport's out here. So they're landing, and the Air Force base is out here. And I'm like, I think we're going to die. I think we're going to get killed. And it's like they're making a new movie. Somehow the Thunderbirds involved in it. We don't know, but they finally put it on the news last night out here. But we got to see the Thunderbirds all week, and that is cool. When you get to see the Thunderbirds flying over your house. Yeah, very neat.
Hey, Steve, get my number from Mike. Get my number from Mike, and feel free to call since we're out here on the left coast.
I would love to. Yeah, we'll go to the Queen Mary and have dinner at the Queen Mary.
Hey, Jeff,
you're on Long Beach. That's down there.
Jeff, you're going to regret this, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Jeff, do you do the Long Beach Grand Prix? Are they doing the Long Beach Grand Prix again this year or not?
Yeah, we have a new sponsor. It's Honda,
Honda sponsor. Because I thought I heard they were going to bag it.
Yeah. I was sitting
because I'm from Indianapolis, IndyCar. I mean, IndyCar is what it's all about. I grew up at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and so they are going to revise it.
Yeah, my attorney and Chris Pook would had the same office building downtown Long Beach. They meet at a place called Lombardo's, and they start talking. Wouldn't it be neat to have a race in the city of Long Beach? I remember when it was Beer Talk, so I've been involved with the race for
I mean,
from
next
day
to
one,
Indy.
early
Okay, so
70s.
you can give me a hot pass. You can give me a hot pass then. I can come down.
Yeah. Yep.
I will do that. I definitely will do that. Because I mean,
with Honda. Yeah.
Steve has your
good.
number
I'm glad they
now.
found a sponsor.
So, Steve,
because next to Indy, the Long Beach, St. Petersburg, and Long Beach, and Indy are the three biggest races in open wheel racing in the United States.
Yeah.
Bar none.
Yeah.
St. Pete, they're going to race in St. Pete in a couple of weeks, or maybe this weekend, or is it next weekend. Then there's Indy, and then there's Long Beach, which comes up, and I want to do Long Beach. So, I'm going to hit you up for a hot pass for Long Beach and come out there, and I'll just do credentials, and we'll do a show, and we'll have you on and do it again. So this was an honor for me, Jeff. Thank you very much. From Hollywood, from sports, from everything. We didn't even talk about your sports career, but the hell with that. We don't care.
We already covered that a couple years ago.
That's already on tape somewhere on thegrowingtruth.net. We've got that covered. So, it's
right,
covered.
Jeff,
it's been my pleasure and continued success with your show.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you, Jeff. All right, guys. We will be back in a little over a minute.
Hello, boxing fans. I'm Michael Montero of Montero on Boxing. You may have read my work in Boxing Monthly Magazine, Ring Magazine, or their associated websites, maybe Undisputed Champion Network. Maybe you've heard my segments on NBC Sports Radio or any of the other platforms where I do work regularly. I wanted to invite you to check out my podcast, The Neutral Corner. We upload it every Monday. It's available on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and of course at thegruelingtruth.net. Every week we go over the news, the rumors, the latest fights being put together. We analyze everything, give you the business behind the business, and then we review all the action that took place in the ring during the prior week around the world. Not just the big popular fights, but all the fights, including the little guys. And then, of course, we preview the action coming up this week. Again, Michael Montero, The Neutral Corner, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and thegruelingtruth.net.
All right, guys, we're back on Survive in Advance. I'm Mike Goodpaster with Steve Risley. Once again, we want to thank Jeff Severson, former Washington Redskin, and one of the stars of the movie North Dallas 40, for coming on the show today. And now, of course, it's the part of the show that everybody waits for. We've got Bobby Sheridan from the Sheridan Report. How you doing, Bobby?
Bobby! My man, Bobby!
Hey.
How we doing, buddy?
Fired up. Hey,
did we hit the trifecta last night? Did we hit the trifecta last night?
It's a parlay.
Did we get it? Parlay. Did we get the parlay? Whatever the hell it is. I don't bet. So did we get it?
We didn't get the parlay. We didn't get the parlay. The Grueling Truth 3-teamer. But
so Goodpaster can't buy dinner tonight is what you're saying. So Goodpaster can't buy dinner.
Yeah. I had to sell one of my dogs today.
Man, Mike, was Jeff cool? Was Jeff just cool to talk to? I mean,
Jeff was cool.
Bobby, we talked to Jeff. What was say his last name, Mike?
Severson.
Blow it. Severson, who was an actor in North Dallas 40, which I got up at 3:30 this morning and watched North Dallas 40.
Played in Super Bowl 7 and has written multiple songs, including a new album that comes out.
Of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, a country singer.
You know what, Steve? That's
a football player, an actor. I mean, he's living my dream. I think of two things, Bobby. I think of do I want to be Jeff or do I want to be Bobby? Who do I want to be? I don't want to be Mike, but do I want to be Jeff or do I want to be Bobby?
You couldn't
one
be
or the
Mike.
other.
You're not man enough to be Mike, by the way, Steve.
I mean, I could go to Vegas and go see Donnie Marie whenever I wanted to. Instead, I choose to see Celine Dion. But Donnie Marie, that's an age difference. I get it. But it's like, how cool was that, Mike, to talk to him, and the integrity and honesty that he talked with on the show.
Yeah,
I think that was cool.
But
great guy, right. Yeah.
Bobby.
Can we just fire Bobby and have Jeff on every week?
No, I could fire you and have Jeff on every week. But Bobby, what's your top play of the week?
Well, that's already going to happen. There's no doubt about that.
Mike, I got to say, Steve's fired up, and getting up at 3:30 to watch that movie so that you could be prepared. Your old coach would be pretty damn proud of you, and look what you got out of that. You had a winning ball game because of the preparation.
There you go. There you go.
What you got to have. That's what you got to have day in and day out to do the kind of stuff that I do. In terms of getting on the right side of these games, and it's not.
I woke my family up. Yeah. At 3:30 in the morning, I'm laughing my ass off at North Dallas 40, and my family is coming out and looking at my office and going, "What are you doing? Are you drinking? What is going on?" No, I'm watching North Dallas 40. It's just a funny movie. It's just hilarious. You keep forgetting how funny that movie is and how real it is. And Mike, do you think it's a real movie? Do you think it told the story of what was going on in the NFL at that point in time? Yeah. Before we get into Bobby, then we'll give it to Bobby.
I think it combined everything that, like he said, I don't think there's too many teams where all that stuff happened in a week, but I think all those things were things that did happen.
Well, sure, they have an hour and a half to make a movie, so they got to combine it. They got to condense it. I get that. So, all right, I thought it was great. That's one of my favorite interviews I've ever done with you, Mike. Thank you for letting me be a part of that. And my second most favorite interview I'm ever doing is talking to Bobby Sheridan of the Sheridan Report. Bobby, what do you got for us today?
Okay, Steve. Celine Dion was great last night, by the way.
You kill me. I saw Celine Dion.
Top
I saw
2 or 3 of all time. But I'll tell
she's
you,
good, isn't she?
She has aged. She has aged, and she doesn't. She's not quite the same performer she was 10 and 15 years ago, but she's great, and her fans are louder.
But did you sit close? Did you sit close?
They love her. No, I
didn't.
Sit close? I was about third level, but I was centered.
Okay.
And but she's great, and her, of course, her Titanic did the show, and it was really good. Yeah. It was neat to see the fans.
We talked about
so much.
We talked about this. I saw her. She was the backup or the opening act for Michael Bolton. Believe it or not, my wife wanted to see Michael Bolton when he had the damn long half hair, whatever he had going on in his life. And Celine Dion was pretty much an unknown factor at that point in time. And working for Pfizer, because that's why your drugs are so expensive, we had third row seats. We were right there. And I felt like she stared at me and sang to me the entire night. I mean, it's like I didn't take my eyes off her, and I don't think she ever took her eyes off me.
See, that's just because you're so damn tall. She's looking out in the audience, but you're so tall.
And she's tall, too. She's like 6 foot tall
what it was?
Yeah.
You know what it was? She stared at him the whole time trying to figure out why his head was so freaking enormous.
She's waiting for, like, when's he going to pull the gun out and shoot me? Exactly. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Her music is outstanding. And you know what? You got to text Lucas Weiss because Celine Dion is Canadian.
Because Steve's in love with
her.
Lucas, if you're listening,
and she really
give us a plug.
She talked about a guy Reynolds, an actor Reynolds that was in the movie last year. What was the name of the movie? Where he has a mask on and it looks like a Spider-Man mask, but I'm really bad with movie names. But she was the song in that movie. She sang it, which I wasn't aware of. It was this last year. But he's a fellow Canadian actor, and Lucas will probably text in if he's listening. But last name, I think it's Ryan Reynolds. Whatever movie he's involved with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah. She's the thing. Oh my God, it's my son's favorite. Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
and
my son's favorite movie is Deadpool.
Yeah, she sang a song called Ashes. She's famous for her movie songs. Titanic and Beauty and the Beast, and
right.
that.
Yeah. Heart of the Ocean.
But anyways, really glad I got to go. And
all right, so let me ask you one more question. Who's the biggest country western singer, Canadian of all time?
I have no idea.
If you know this, Bobby.
Come on, Bobby.
Mike,
you can do it, Bobby.
Come on, Bobby.
Canadian country?
Mike, do you know Bobby?
Let
Mike, do
Bobby
you know?
answer first. Go ahead, Bobby.
Okay.
I don't know. Canadian country singer? I don't know.
Mike?
The greatest Canadian. But see, I don't know what you consider the greatest.
The biggest selling artist. So let's just go biggest selling. I mean, I don't know if she's the greatest of all time or not. Dolly Parton's the queen of country music. So let's just not go there.
I think it's Shania Twain because she was hot.
Shania Twain, exactly right.
Anne Murray
Shania
was
Twain,
also
she's
good.
in Canada. Yep, Shania Twain is Canadian too. So
I think Terry Clark
Lucas,
is also.
if you're listening, yeah, who is?
Too.
Who is Mike?
Terry Clark. She's a
Terry Clark
singer. She's kind of hot.
All right. Okay.
Actually, most
Shania
Canadian
Twain,
women are hot, and that's sad because then they end up with guys that are a little bit homely looking like Lucas. That way we'll know if Lucas is listening live because he'll respond.
Have you seen Lucas's girlfriend?
Exactly.
Have you seen Lucas's girlfriend?
That is my point,
She's hot.
dude. My point.
Yeah, she's hot.
That's my point.
What is Lucas doing with her? Seriously, Lucas, I hope you're listening right now.
Because
I
most
hope
of the
you're
men
listening.
are. Well, how about this though? Who is the greatest songwriter in the history of Canada?
Oh, is it Justin Bieber? Justin Bieber?
Gordon Lightfoot. If you could read my mind, though, would tell my heart would tell.
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, the greatest song ever written.
And of course, Anne
Wreck
Murray,
of the Edmund Fitzgerald, exactly. Anne Murray is Canadian. I did not know that.
There
you go.
I thought everybody knew that.
No, I did not know that. That Anne Murray. I did not think Anne Murray was Canadian. All right, we're taking a Bobby.
All right, Bobby, what's your top play?
What's your top? Yeah, top play, Bobby.
All right,
sorry.
That's okay. No, this is good. Steve likes this kind of stuff sometimes, so I'm playing right into Steve. He loves the fun stuff and the little anecdotes and the.
I like fun stuff too.
Well, no, I know that, Mike. I'm just trying to give Steve his. Let Steve, have the floor today. And no, but you know what, guys? Let's get a little bit into this now, and we'll give 5 or 10 minutes of.
Bobby, I never get the floor.
Stuff.
Mike will call me as soon as we're done and call me
Bobby.
A new asshole, and I will never get the floor.
Okay, guys.
So go ahead, Bobby.
All right, Steve, let's go for it. Steve, I'm Bobby Knight now. Okay, get your ass in line. Let's go. All right, here we go.
I don't think that's exactly what Coach Knight said to him,
Bobby. Well, see, we have made you a radio personality now. See, we have got you now to where you can fire back and dish
Bobby
it
made
back
his first
out.
funny.
And
that's good.
This is a crowning moment, Bobby. You dished it back out. Good for you. I love you now.
Go ahead,
You're
Bobby.
my hero.
Risley, shut up. Get your ass in line. Go ahead, Bobby.
All right, here's a couple quotes, guys, from last night. I don't want to let this go because, we're a daily show, and we have to – oh, now I'm getting a stupid call, and it's messing up my quotes. Damn it. Okay, I can
That happens to Adam Schefter all the time on the NFL channel. So
who cares? Adam Schefter's an idiot. He's on ESPN. That's the only reason he's relevant at all, because he's on ESPN.
Well, you're an idiot. Why aren't you on ESPN? Go ahead, Bobby. You there, Bobby?
Touche, well played again. Bobby, come on. We're waiting on you.
Oh, hold on. I got to call Bobby back. Bobby got dropped.
Bobby, we lost Bobby?
We lost Bobby. I'll get him back. Relax,
oh, my
Steve.
God.
I'll get him back. Hold on.
Okay, get him back.
Jeez. I'm getting him back. Maybe.
I'm on a Jeff Severson high.
There he is. Bobby, I'll tell you what.
There he is.
Steve,
Bobby, where'd you go?
Steve had a panic attack because I'm like, I got to call him back. And he's like, call him back. And I've got it. So he was scared. But go ahead, Bobby. Top play.
Bobby, did you go take a dump?
No. That was my fault. I hit a wrong button there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
Go ahead, Bobby.
All right. Is it raining in the inland? Is it raining in the Inland Empire? I want to know right now. Is it raining there?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
It's pouring in the valley, so we're getting killed.
Yeah, so it's getting killed today, but it's going to be
Let's go,
gone
Bobby.
by tomorrow, I believe. So, all right. So, guys, here's the quotes. It looked to me like we were jogging up the floor. You can't play basketball jogging. You've got to sprint. Your cuts have to be hard. You have to be going all out. We did not go all out, and it was embarrassing. That's Steve Kerr, okay? Here's a quote. I think we played with purpose all the way through. We were very businesslike the whole night, even at halftime, and just now after the game, too. We know we haven't played like that enough, but it's encouraging as a reminder that we can. That's Brad Stevens. And, guys, that's basketball. And I'll take you right back to when Indiana was in the worst of their throngs, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. And Steve Risley was on the Indiana postgame, and he said, you've got to play with purpose. I don't see purpose. And, Steve, that might be the best single quote we've had, for this Indiana season in terms of the team playing at that time that describes what was going on. And now there is plenty of purpose on that Indiana team, and there was plenty of purpose for that Celtics team last night. Very interesting stuff going on there, guys. And get this, Durant comes on after the game in his presser, and he says, I thought we moved off of joy. Now it's anger in response to Kerr's message. Kerr said it starts with a passion and an anger and intensity, and it wasn't there tonight. But see, Kerr often talks about playing with joy. So his star player, one of his star players, is just pretty much calling him out right there. And then he says, Durant, all around, top to bottom, coaches, players, we've got to be better. So this is the kind of crap you got going on, guys, with some of these teams. You got Durant's going to be playing for somebody else next year. You got, Kerr, who's a great coach and a great leader, being questioned by one of his star players. Maybe Draymond Green was right a couple months ago. Durant is an idiot. He is a bitch.
Okay, so Bobby, I got questions for you. I've got
Bobby's
questions
really,
for you now, Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby's really getting going
that's
now.
That's the bottom line, guys. And this is, and it really pisses me off, that kind of stuff. And this is the kind of stuff you have to be aware of, the changing landscapes and the things that are going on with teams. Because here's another thing, and then you can ask me, Steve. Here's another thing. There's a website out there called tankathon.com or something like that. And they talk about these NBA teams tanking. Well, it's not happening anymore. That's the past. Okay, they come up with rules now that the bottom three teams all have the equal chance of getting the first pick. So tonight's game, which is a top play for us, and that's why I'm leading into this, the Knicks and the Suns. The Knicks go to Phoenix, and they're separated by a half game for the worst record. Neither one of these teams is tanking. In fact, if you actually watch basketball, like I have to do, like I do, every sport that I wager on, the Knicks and the Suns are playing pretty darn good ball right now with a lot of good young players. There is zero chance of that being a tank game tonight, and I'm going to give you the winner of that game. And there's zero chance.
Okay, but Bobby, before we get into that, can we just, because you made an all-encompassing statement there, and
yes.
Is this a time when everything elevates and the game changes? And we had Brian Shaw on earlier this week, and we talked about the bracketology and everything in NCAA. Now, you're betting NBA, you're doing things like that. Does the game change right now because Kerr is getting pissed off because his team's not playing at the level they want to play, and they're not performing where they need to be relevant in the tournament? Or what's your thought? Because you kind of just made some pretty big statements there.
Well, yeah, because
but is the game changing? Before you get into betting, is the game changing, Bobby? Mike, jump in, please. I'm asking questions.
Yeah, it's changing. It's we're getting down to the nitty-gritty where it matters now. And teams have already shaped their, kind of how they play and how they want, who's effective and who's not effective. But now it comes down to mindset. And it comes down to, are you there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, good. I something weird with my phone. Yeah, it comes down to mindset, and it comes down to leadership, and it comes down to who's going to start playing friggin' good basketball. And you saw a good team last night, the team that we were on, the Houston Rockets, they're the best team in the league right now. The way that they're playing and what they have going ahead of themselves, they're going to win the Western Conference. Barring an injury,
okay,
barring something stupid happening. That team,
so
who came within one game last year, within a pulled hamstring of beating the Warriors, that team is now they're together and they're ready to get it done. And versus this other, parade team that calls himself a basketball team, getting blown out at home by 29 last night. I don't care if Thompson played or didn't play. And then you have those kind of quotes from one of your star players. It's just a joke. And if you're going to be on these teams, you're going to be betting these games, you got to know the mindset and what's going on and relate it to a point spread. And that's, if you can't do that, then don't bet. Or you can be a fan, but don't bet. And when I read stuff like that, I get mad. And when I read about 100%, the guy said, on tanking for tonight's game on the Knicks and the Suns, it's probably some 21-year-old kid that, he learned about tanking 3 years ago, and he thinks it's still relevant. Nobody's tanking anymore. In fact, Austin Rivers came out and said, there's a big reason why no one's tanking. It's not happening anymore, the rule changes. But he says you'll get beat up pretty bad on social media. If you're out there and you're tanking and you're doing, you're not getting it done. And
okay,
so
all right, so Mike, I'm a player. I know what I've got to do to get myself geared up to play tournament basketball. You're a coach, and you've been, a very successful coach at all levels. Does the game change for you as a coach, or do you have to start treating your players differently, Mike, and get things, on a different track, or do you just kind of say, this is how we've done it all year, this is how we're going to go? Mike?
Regular season, this is how we've done it all year, this is how we're going to go. When you get to the playoffs, the one thing you can do as a coach is you can screw it up. I mean, the thing is this, as a coach, you're the one that has to make sure that you treat it like it's just another game. Because if you don't, your players sense that. And I think I've told this story before. First championship game I ever coached in front of like 7,000, 8,000 people, hostile arena. We go out to play the game, and it seemed like the game was over 10 minutes later because we were so hyped up that when things started going wrong, everything just became kind of a blur, and you couldn't get the donkey back in the barn. And that's why you see so many Super Bowls that were blowouts over the history of, and it's the same thing with basketball. Because if you start off bad, things can kind of steamroll unless you can get it together as a coach. And you have to learn that as a coach. But I think right now, these are just regular season games. You just go out and play. I think when you get to a championship game, you just have to make sure that you yourself are coaching it like any other game, because then your players will react that way. If your players sense that you are tense or nervous, your players will become tense and nervous. If you're over-anxious, your players will become over-anxious. That is if you're a good coach, because if you're a good coach, the players will take on your personality.
Oh, great comments, Mike. I love hearing that. It's very, very
and
good
it's hard
stuff.
for me. It's hard for me because I never saw Knight do that. Knight never changed his personality. He coached game 1 like he coached game 35.
Yeah, because I'm sure
he never. Yeah, that's a rarity. I get that.
No,
that's a rarity.
This is the thing. I don't think it is necessarily a rarity, because I think we see great coaches all the time that are like that. But you'll see a coach. I think a perfect example is this: I like Archie Miller, but that game against Purdue, he didn't coach the game. He lost his shit, and so did his players. He was out of control. His players played out of control. He coached out of control. If he had just one point during that game would have said, shit, guys, sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
We're going to have a timeout. We're going to pull this back, and this is how we're going to win this game, instead of just being, we got to attack them, and play as hard as possible, I think they would have won that game. But I think he was caught up in them playing hard, and I think the game went by very quickly for him. And I think I think that you've seen him learn from that since then, and you don't see him coaching Mike. Like he's freaking nuts on the sideline.
My question for you, Mike, is this. And I watched that game too, and I agree with you 100%. is there a time when a coach needs to get out of control? You as a coach, which is what your genre is, where you need to just go apeshit bananas nuts and get out of control and say, you know what, go play with your heart and not with your brains, and just go play hard. And so was that a good thing for Miller?
Well, I can tell you this. This is the thing. It wasn't a good thing because he was going ape shit with the players more than anything else. But I'll give you an example.
Well, fine. Sometimes you got to go off on your family.
I'll give you an example.
I mean,
my
wife went off on me last night because I wanted spaghetti. And
I help coach for my son's high school football team, and it's a Christian homeschooled team. And everybody always tries to stay calm all the time. And there was a play in our conference championship game where we're behind 12-8, and the officials make a really bad call. And the players are all upset. They're all freaking out. None of the coaches will go off because they're all, oh, we got to keep our control. I didn't. I ran on the field. I yelled at this official so bad that he threw a flag at me. All right? He threw a flag at me. Almost hit me. Asshole. And I got a 15-yard penalty. And the guy, just the head coach, looks at me and he says, if you want to do that, you go. I said, no. I said, somebody had to stand up for the players because if they wouldn't have, the poor calls, which we got a ton of during that game, we got a ton of bad calls in that game. And if I would have not done that, they would have felt like they had to do it. But from the rest of that game, from end of the first or middle of the first quarter to the end of the game, we probably got 15 penalty calls. The other team probably got 4, and our kids just kept playing. They didn't let it affect them. And I had one of my big linemen comes up after the game, and he said, once you did that, we were all good because we knew you had our back. And, I've done that before.
Yeah.
The other thing is this. I've had teams that were playing very poorly before, and I'll make a complete fool out of myself. I mean, I had a game in Marion, Ohio. I got 4 personal fouls in like a minute. And that's because against Marion, where I wanted the 4 penalties on me, because then the crowd gets mad at me, they turn on me, and they leave the players alone. And the same thing on the road. I may get a couple penalties and act like a complete jerk, but then everybody's anger is directed at me, and my players can go play. So I think there are definitely times where you have to do something.
Well, isn't that what coaches do, Mike? Isn't that what coaches? That's what they bring to the table.
Yeah, because the thing is this: when you yell at an official, you'll have a bunch of guys.
I'm getting idiot texts right now telling me that. I'm getting idiot Texas. So go ahead, Mike. Finish off, and then we'll let Bobby do his thing.
Texas means, but idiot Texas is where I grew up. But basically, what this means is this: you'll always have people. If you yell at the official, it doesn't affect the official. Now, with some coaches, it does. And some coaches, the officials will call more stuff on them, or they'll call stuff for them to shut them up. My whole point was doing this is to just let the players know that you don't have to bitch at the officials because I'm going to more than take care of that for you. And, I'm going to stick my neck out there. You just got to go play, but I will fight for you. And this is not a thing where I think I can change a call, but I think I could get some of the heat. And, players want to know that coaches have their back. And if you're getting some really bad calls that could cost you a game that you worked so hard to play for, and your coach allows that to go on without saying anything, the one thing I do know is this: players will then start to chirp at the officials, and officials will in turn make the game even worse for your team. So.
Yeah, and I'll say this: Knight was a master at that, and I'll just give it 5 seconds, and we got to give Bobby some time here. We played. I think I may have told the story before, but again, I'll just rehash it in 10 seconds. We were playing in the Indiana Hoosier Classic, which was a dipshit tournament that we played in. That we brought 3 weak teams in at Assembly Hall. We won it every year. I never lost it. I never wanted to lose to Northwestern. I never wanted to lose in the Hoosier Classic. And we're beating the team, California, I think it was. We're beating them like 100-50. And one of their players steps out of bounds and doesn't get all the way out of bounds and throws the ball in. Knight, it was the last 2 minutes of the game, Knight goes ballistic and gets thrown out of the game. And the people the next thing, the Indy Star, they rip him royally. What a jerk, what an idiot. But what people didn't know, he had watched, because next night we were going to play UAB, University of Alabama. Gene Bartow was coaching the team. They were ranked higher than us. I mean, they were actually outranked us on the rankings. But he noticed that every game they were a run and gun team, and they would not get out of bounds and throw the ball in. So in talking to him later,
it was the same official, so he put it in their head.
Yeah, he baited the referees that night, knowing if I try to bait them the night of the game, I'm going to lose. If I bait them the night before the game, I'm going to take the heat.
It'll stay in their head all night.
But it'll stay in their head all night. And the next night, we got 3 calls against UAB for not getting the ball out of bounds. And Knight brought this up in a golf outing we played in with everybody one time. We won the game 62-58, somewhere around there. I mean, it was 4 points. We got 3 calls against UAB not getting the ball out of bounds because it was now baited. But he had done it the night before and taken it off his shoulders and taken it off our shoulders. And we scored on 2 of the 3 possessions. And he just showed us the film. He said, look, here's the 3 possessions that Indiana that we got off them, and we scored on 2 of those 3. We won the game by 4 points. And I think, Mike, that's genius on your part. Great job.
Bobby.
All right, Bobby,
what's your
the rest
top
of the
play?
show is yours. What do you got? Yeah, what's your top play?
Okay, top play, guys. Let's get right to it. We got 4 games tonight, 2 in the college and 2 in the NBA, and both top plays are the NBA. We kind of alluded to that already. One of them is the Minnesota-Detroit Pistons game. We got a top play there. But the other top play is the game I told you about, and that's the Knicks and the Suns. And, guys, we like the Knicks right back tonight. This team, they're playing 10 deep. They're playing effective players, 10 deep in the rotation. In fact, Mitchell Robinson, their rim protector right now, who has a block in 21 straight games. Right? The record for the Knicks is 28 by Patrick Ewing as a rookie, that is. Rookie record. Robinson's going to get this. He had 2 more the other night. In only 18 minutes, he had some foul trouble going against Sacramento's guys in there. So he was held to 18 minutes, but he still had his 2 blocks. If you look at the contributions they're getting off their bench, it's just tremendous. And you talk about a team, they played Sacramento the other night, only lost by 8. And Sacramento talk about a team, they're playing with purpose. And they are young, and they are an exciting team trying to get that 8th spot. The Knicks were in that game all the way to the end. Sacramento had their starting lineup in there with no time left on the clock. And, that's how the game went all the way. Played 48 minutes versus the Suns, who the other night beat the Bucks. Now, the Suns have won 3 in a row. And the Suns are playing. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Bucks. Okay, but if you look at the Bucks team that they just beat, that was the end of a long trip, not focused for that game at all, not making those cuts that the quote I told you about, not playing with a purpose that game, and they got beat. And that can happen to you in the NBA if you're not playing the type of basketball you need to play. So would you rather have the Knicks, who play 10 guys, who just got off of a great game against Sacramento, or would you rather have the Suns, who might be a little bit full of themselves tonight, beat a Bucks team? That's a name win, but it's not a team that was focused against you that night the way the Kings were against the Knicks. So it's a little hidden gem tonight. I really like the Knicks tonight, plus the 4 points. Take any points available in this game tonight. The Suns are playing with 7 players. Okay, they're not getting any production beyond 7 players. The Knicks are going to play 10 tonight and effectively play 10. So to me, I think we have the advantages in this ballgame tonight, and I'm going to ride the Knicks again, and we're going to take the 4 points, and I think you'll have a winner there. So that's my top play in the NBA. Yes.
Are the Knicks making a resurgence, Bobby? I mean, you kind of follow this more than I do. I'm not a big.
Well, this is.
They're just a good betting. They're a good bet. They're not necessarily coming back and going to be a dominant force in the NBA.
No. It's completely different things we're talking
fair.
about. Don't think too much into it. But the bottom line is there's a lot of guys that are getting along. They're playing hard right now, and we'll see who's part of that roster next year when they do land, Mr. Durant or Irving or any of these other crybabies from these teams that are all going to go team up in New York or whatever. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But there's some good players doing some good things right now, and you know, as with the Suns too. But I just think the Knicks are in a better spot tonight and a better team. I really do. I think the Knicks are a better team, and we'll see if I'm right.
All right, guys.
Okay, Mike. I know you got to go. Mike, if you got to drop off because I got questions for Bobby. So if you got to go,
yeah. Well, we can't run the show if I'm on it, so I don't know how I can.
Oh, hang on.
Off.
All right, one last question because I really wanted to get to changing the name of Muhammad Ali from Cassius Clay, but more importantly, Tiger Woods, 8-time champion of the Bay Hill Classic. Is he a good play?
No, he's not playing. He's not participating tomorrow, Steve.
No, yes, he is. Yeah, he is.
Well, no, I had read about a day or two ago that he was very sorry he had to pull out of that tournament.
Oh, so he's pulled out of the Bay Hill. I've not heard that.
Yeah, I read that about probably 36 hours ago, probably a day and a half ago.
Okay, well then you're up to more updates than I am. I know that he passed on the Honda, which is Nicklaus's tournament, and
right.
He wanted to play in Bay Hill, which he's won 8 times. So he's pulled out of Bay Hill.
Yeah, he pulled out of Bay Hill. That's what I read. Yeah, we're done.
All right. Fair enough. Mike,
now,
we're done.
All right, guys.
Mike, we're going to wrap it up.
What?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. But I want to tell the fans there's a free play tonight that I'll put on Twitter. It's already on the website. It's a college game in the Pac-10, okay? Pac-12, I mean. There's a game tonight, free play there. And do we have time for On This Day or probably not?
Probably not, but let's do that one tomorrow because I think that one's one you could do pretty much anytime.
Yeah,
the Muhammad Ali one?
Right, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, there was a couple different boxing ones. I wanted Mike's take on there. There was 3 boxing things from today.
Yeah, and
so we'll do it tomorrow.
I'm going to have a little bone to pick with you before we hang up. Can you get some basketball on this day thing instead of boxing all the time? I know you like Mike better than me, but can you kind of put some basketball ones in there that maybe I can talk about?
That's not true.
I thought we had a basketball one on yesterday, didn't we?
I don't know. We may have.
All day yesterday was Larry Bird and the Celtics and the Lakers, and you were mad.
Yeah, well, I hate the NBA. Don't talk about NBA.
Well,
talk about college basketball.
You just said basketball. Well, what do you want to talk about basketball?
Let's go. Let's go, Mike. You got to go.
We're going to wrap it up tomorrow at noon.
Guys.
We will be back. Make sure you check out Bobby Sheridan and the Sheridan Report at Sheridan Report on Twitter, to SheridanReport.com on the internet. Follow Steve Risley at SRisley34. You can follow me at Grilling Truth. We will be back tomorrow at high noon. We will see you then. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find the Grilling Truth. So for Jeff Severson, Bobby Sheridan, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to the Grilling Truth, where the legends speak.